Welcome to this video looking at the UK's plan to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda and how it would completely erode Britain's standing on the world stage, according to the new head of Human Rights Watch, HRW, Tirana Hassan. This bold initiative of the UK government has been held up by legal challenges since being agreed with Rwanda almost a year ago. Tirana Hassan is due to take over as HRW's executive director on Monday, and she has condemned the government's deportation scheme as cheap politics and completely contrary to human rights. In addition, the UK government has proposed a restrictive new immigration bill aiming to cut down refugee crossings of the Channel. Meanwhile, other conservative governments in Europe are reportedly looking at African states for offshore dumping grounds for asylum seekers and could be following the UK's lead. Tirana Hassan warns us that if the UK gets away with the Rwanda deal, others will follow, potentially dealing further blows to established refugee protections. The model of intercepting refugee boats and putting asylum seekers into offshore camps was pioneered by Australia several years ago, led by former Foreign Minister, Alexander Downer. Hassan points out how Australia's Liberal Party governments of John Howard and Tony Abbott torpedoed Australia's hopes of leadership on human rights in the Indo-Pacific region. In her past, Tirana Hassan co-founded a refugee advocacy group to represent refugees being held at a camp in Woomera and witnessed women sewing their lips together, children on hunger strike, and people throwing themselves off the top of fencing into lines of razor wire. She feels that the UK government is scraping the bottom of the barrel with their current immigration policies, and it's going to completely erode any sort of international standing that the UK has when it comes to human rights on the international stage. On the other hand, the Biden administration has taken strong action over China's persecution of Uyghur Muslims, and Hassan is hopeful that they can correct the wrongs of their record here. However, she has been disappointed by their backtracking on asylum rights, their abandonment of their pledge to make Saudi Arabia a pariah for the murder of dissident journalist Jamal Khashoggi, and the flip-flopping they've done when it comes to commitments. Ultimately, it is incredibly important to closely monitor the UK and Biden administration's efforts on this issue and pay attention to the global implications of their policies. Human rights activists around the world will be closely watching the UK's attempts to follow through on their deportation scheme, as it could open the door for other countries to follow suit. This is why it is critical to stand up for human rights in our own countries and ensure that governments are held accountable for their actions.